Okay, I'm about halfway through My Friends by Fredrik Backman. I love this book not only just because of the characters and the stories, but specifically the storyline having to do with the owl, which is an art teacher, and the janitor, which is sort of like almost a patron saint of the artist when he's still in school and still insecure about his talents and sort of like trying to, develop himself as an artist. And I think it's such an important story to tell, which is that Julia Cameron talks in her book, The Artist's Way, about shadow artists and people that almost like are so either stuck or insecure or, not in a place of pursuing their own art. So they pursue careers in art. But sometimes what happens in that process is that they almost become so jaded that they think that their power is in deciding who can be an artist and who can, almost like gatekeeping in institutional art. And I thought that that point was so great, and the janitor allowing the artist to sort of express himself on, a wall, and then the owl sort of like making sure it gets painted over and calling it graffiti, I think was such a great point to make. And the more, I hear so many people talk about how they used to like drawing or painting, and then in an art class the teacher told them they weren't good. And I think that I always kind of just want to tell people the only thing that needs to sort of like come through in your art is you. Like, there is no such thing as really good or bad in that sense. Sure, like maybe your portrait doesn't have a likeness, but if maybe it doesn't have a likeness, but maybe something else came out in that portrait from you. And maybe if somebody else can recognize you in that portrait, for example, as the artist, then you've done your job. And as many people will say that they don't like it, there's going to be people that fall in love with it, which I think this story represents so well, with even with Louisa as sort of like the through line. So I'm really excited to sort of finish it, but highly recommend it if you're into art. And especially I think if you're a younger person, I would have loved to have read this, in my 20s. So if you're in your 20s, definitely pick up My Friends by Fredrik Backman.